Janaranja Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Yashodanandana Vrajajaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Jaya Radha Madhava Shri Radhe Jaya Jaya Gaura Nitai Krishna Balaram Lalita Vishaka Jaya Radhe Shyam Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramhansa Parivragacharya Stodas Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnupada Paramhansa Parivragacharya Stodas Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki प्रेम से गो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण को भगविनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की श्री वृंदावन धाम की मथुरा धाम की द्वारका धाम की जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जी गंगा माई जमुना माई की भक्ति देवी तुलसी देवी की समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरे बोल ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द assembled devotees हरे कृष्णा ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द assembled devotees हरे कृष्णा All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are reading from chapter number 18, entitled The Perfection of Renunciation, and verse number 16. Tatraivam sati kartaram Atmanam kevalam tuya Pashyati akrata buddhitvan Nasha pashyati durmati Tatraivam sati kartaram Atmanam kevalam tuya Pashyati akrata buddhitvan Nasa pashyati durmati Tatraivam sati kartaram Atmanam kevalam tuya Pashyati akrata buddhitvan Nasa pashyati durmati.
Tatraivam sati kartaram Atmanam kevalam tuya
Atmanam kevalam tuya
Pashyati akrata buddhitvan
Pashyati akrata buddhitvan
Nasa pashyati durmati.
Okay, let's read word to word meaning and then the purport. Tatra, there. Evam, thus. Sati, being. Kartaram, the worker. Atmanam, himself. Kevalam, only. Tu, but. Ya, anyone who. Pashyati, sees. Akrata buddhitvat, akrata buddhitvan, due to unintelligence. Na, never. Sa, he. Pashyati, sees. Durmati, foolish. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Therefore, one who thinks himself the only doer, not considering the five factors, is certainly not very intelligent and cannot see things as they are. Purport. A foolish person cannot understand that the super soul is sitting as a friend within and conducting his actions. Although the material causes are the place, the worker, the endeavor, and the senses, the final cause is the Supreme, the personality of Godhead. Therefore, one should see not only the four material causes, but the supreme efficient cause as well. One who does not see the Supreme thinks himself to be the doer. Therefore, one who thinks himself the only doer, not considering the five factors, is certainly not very intelligent and cannot see things as they are. So we are, okay. Om Ajnanatimandasya Jnananjana Shalagaya Chakshorunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadanti Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Shri Yudapata Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Sha Shri Rupam Sahagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamascha He Krishna Karana Sindhu Deenamandu Jagatpate Kopisha Kopikanta Radha Kantu Namastude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavanishwari Vishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhayascha Kripa Sindhivaivacha Patitanam Pavanibhayo Vaishnava Namo Namaha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So I would like to welcome all of you for this evening session of Bhagavad Gita in English. So we are on the last chapter. Actually, Bhagavad Gita is only 17 chapters from 1 to 17. 18 is just the summary of all those chapters. Basically, Bhagavad Gita is divided into 3 sections. 6 chapters, 6. Okay, so it's like the first 6 chapters deals with karma, and the middle 6 chapters it deals with bhakti, mainly the bhakti, and the last 6 chapter talks about the jnana, knowledge, right? So it's a concluding chapter. It's also called as moksha sannyas. It's like basically talks about moksha, and even it's like when you take sannyas, it's like it's moksha sannyas. We also call it moksha sannyas. So this is beyond moksha sannyas. We are giving actually moksha to sannyas also, like sannyas to moksha also, other way around. So this chapter talks about jnana, knowledge. So what is this chapter entitled? The perfection of renunciation. So what is renunciation means? To your knowledge, what is renunciation? I renunciate from this. So in Hindi, what is renunciation called as? Tyag. To give away things, right? Some people have a tendency that I renunciated this, I renunciate this, because they give away something maybe because they are not interested, or they find it very difficult, or they find some other path is much better than doing this. So this chapter is entitled as perfection of renunciation. What do you mean by perfection of renunciation? Renunciation is also to some extent called as moksha. A living entity, he desires, he gets or he tries to get a lot of happiness from the sensory objects, from the sense perception, from his sensory organs, and also he tries to get a lot of happiness from moksha. Moksha has also got a lot of happiness. When one tries to attain moksha, which is sensory objects, senses, and then all those things come, mind, intelligence, so many things comes, then Atma comes. But then people are also aiming for moksha, because there is some kind of happiness in moksha also. But Prabhupada has entitled this as perfection of renunciation. So perfection of renunciation is not moksha, it's beyond that. So we will come to that later on. Srila Prabhupada says, you don't have to artificially renunciate or artificially tyag. In Hindi they call it tyag. You don't have to renunciate things. But all those things which you are trying to renunciate can be used in Krishna's service. So when you do the same thing, but now your goal has changed. Rather than giving satisfaction to your senses, now you are trying to satisfy the senses of Krishna. Then you are in perfect consciousness. So we'll come to that. So that is called as the perfection of renunciation. So this whole chapter deals with that, 18th chapter. From 13 till 17, we talk about different karmas and nishkarma karma. What does nishkarma karma means? Doing activities because we are obliged to do it, or for the sake of doing it. We have to do it. Certain activities we don't want to do it, but then we'll have to do it because that is part of the obligation. But when we do those activities, we don't expect the results or fruitive results. We don't, whether it is good or bad, we accept it, because this service we are doing it for whom? We are doing this service as an offering to Lord Krishna. So from 13 to 17, this chapter deals with that. And initial chapters from the 18, it talks about different ways of doing it. What is good karma? What is bad karma? Somewhere it is mentioned people completely want to avoid not doing certain activities, or they don't want to just avoid doing these activities. Then what are activities in the mode of goodness? What are activities in the mode of passion? What are activities in the mode of ignorance? So different kind of things are there. So for every action, there is equal and opposite reaction. So if you do some activities just to please your senses, then you are born with the reaction. But certain activities which you do just to please the Supreme Personality Godhead, then there is no reaction. Okay, so all this basically the 18th chapter deals with all those things, and then finally concluding the devotional service to the Supreme Personality Godhead. So here there are 5 important things which we are talking about. What are those 5 things? We saw that in 14th also. Sorry, I think it's 12th. No, just a minute. Yeah, it's on the 14th verse. It talks about the place of action, the body, the performer, the various senses, the many different kinds of endeavor, and ultimately the super soul. These are the 5 factors of action. So whenever we act, whenever there is an action, these 5 factors are always involved. What are they? Okay, first is place, because whenever we do an action, there will be some place, India or abroad, or maybe on the playground, or maybe in an office or in a home, some kind of place where we do the activity. Then so one is place, the other is the doer himself, right? And then that action is performed using what? Tools, right? So when you see a cricket match or when you see a football, some player is batting. So where is batting? He's batting on the pitch. If anyone is used to cricket or maybe the football, even in football, if you see there is a playground. So when you want to play football, you need a playground. So that is the place, right? And the doer is all those people who are part of the game, who are part of the 2 different teams. They are playing football, right? So they are the doer, the karta, and it's also called as ahankar. Now we also call it as ahankar. So because when you do some activities, we feel very proud of doing it. It's a false ego. And then there are senses. When you play football, mainly the legs are involved, right? And the head is involved for heading the ball. Or when you play cricket, you have to involve the legs, the hand, the mind, whatnot, everything. And then there is an endeavor, right? So when you see some nice sportsman who plays good football, it's just not that he goes to the ground and he makes a goal. He has to do a lot of training work. He practices on the net. He sweats gallons of sweat, Otherwise, he cannot just go and make a goal. It's not that he just walks in and just makes a goal. He does a lot of endeavor. He practices a lot, whether it is sports or whether it is students or whether it is a scientist. They do a lot of experiments, and finally after a lot of experiments, they get some success. So there is a lot of endeavor involved in that. And final is what? Final is the Supreme Personality Godhead. We can always also call it as God or Paramatma or Super Soul who is sitting in our heart. So these are the 5 different things. What are they? The place, the doer, then the tool, which is the senses, the endeavor, and the Lord. So if we just look at our body is also, it's like we are doing. The body is also place, With this body, we do so many activities with our different senses, with our eyes, with our nose, with our ears, with our hands, with our legs, with our mind, intelligence falls over. We do so many activities, perform so many activities, isn't it? And with what? With different senses, with different sensory organs, karmendriya, and then we have knowledge acquiring senses, and then we have karmendriya, which with the help of which we perform our karma. And then when we do all these activities, what is very important thing which is required? Whatever activities we do, can you guarantee that we will always get success, or is that you always fail? No. Sometimes we succeed, sometimes we fail, because the Lord as Paramatma sometimes approves it, sometimes He doesn't approve it. It all depends upon. But what is our job? Our job is to perform that activity. Success or failure is immaterial. We don't know whether we'll get success or failure. Okay. So now we see there are, here we see there are different doers. One is ourself. We are the doers. Then Prabhupada also says here in this look, in the end, what does he say? Who is the supreme efficient cause as well? One who does not see the supreme thing himself to be the doer. So Prabhupada says, who is the supreme cause? Is Krishna. So Krishna is one doer. Now we are one doer, Krishna is one doer, and then what comes into picture is also what is important? The three modes of material nature. Right? So the three modes of material nature also is very important. What are the three modes of material nature? Mode of ignorance, passion, and goodness. Right? So, and material nature is always there. We are taken birth here, and we are not only here, even the heavenly planets, all those things are controlled by mode of ignorance, passion, and goodness. It's not that there is always goodness there. There is also mode of passion, ignorance. There is also high chance when you go to upper planets, there high chance you can fall down, because these three modes of nature are also very prevalent there. It's also its prevalence there in the material world is very high. It's still there. Okay, so what happens? How this whole cycle works? It's the living entities. The living entities are also called as jiva. Jiva, right? Jiva, and then material world is called as Jagat, and then we have the Supreme Personality called. So he is also called as Jagdish. So Jiv, Jagat, and Jagdish. One way we can look at things like that. So it all starts with desire to do something, right? So living entity, he cannot just sit idle. Living entity, that includes animal as well. All the living entities, they cannot just sit idle. There is some kind of thinking going on. They always want to be active. They want to do something. They cannot just be inactive, sit at one place, not doing anything. Not doing anything is also kind of activity only, right? So the living entity desires to do something. So now the living entity, when it desires to do something, but what is required his body has to receive that signal. Otherwise he cannot do. Suppose, let's say for example, someone has paralysis and his whole body is paralytic, and he wants to just do something, or he wants to just raise his hand. Can he do that? He cannot do that, because he has a desire, but his bodily senses are not working. There is no signal. So he will not be able to do anything. Then this is all because, everyone has a karmic cycle. The quota of karma is always there. Krishna sanctions only if there is, this quota is allowed, not allowed. If it is available, then that work is sanctioned. So whenever we desire something, the sanction comes from the Lord. Lord actually doesn't do it. Lord just gives the sanctioning authority. Who actually executes that? We are the initiating cause. Krishna is the sanctioning authority. And the three modes of material nature is the actual executing the cause. So these three things plays a very important role. The Jiv, Jagat, and Jagdish. So these three things are very, very important to understand. If we don't understand this, then there is a problem. So most of the time we are stuck up with what? We are stuck up with we are the doer. So any activities we do in this material world, we think, we are doing it. It worked because I am the brain behind it. When even a scientist, when he does some kind of research, and out of the research, when he's successful and he invents something new, so they feel very proud of themselves. Oh, because of me, because of my brain, I was able to invent something. Isn't it? Isn't it true or not? When you fail, what do you do? When you fail, you think, it's Krishna didn't give me the required sanction, that's why I failed. But when you succeed, you always feel that you are the one who is doing it, right? So one has to understand. So why there is a desire? Why there is a desire? Why? And it's not a desire. Sometimes it's a lusty desire also. So Prabhupada says that when your desire is just to enjoy this material world with your so-called imperfect senses, that always results in frustration, because that desire is not detailed or is not as per what the scripture says. So Prabhupada says that when you use your mind and try to understand things which is not as per Shastra, so that desire is imperfect. What is perfect desire? Perfect desire is when you refer to scripture, or when you refer to scripture and understand what are the do's, what are the don'ts, and you work as per what is written in the scripture, then your mind is guided by intelligence. So we need to understand. See, there are different sense objects in this material world. There are different sense objects. So there is an hierarchy which goes, right? So one is the sense objects, and who is enjoying the sense objects are what? Sense objects are enjoyed by what? The senses. We have different senses, right? The eyes, then the nose, then the ears. These are all the different kinds of sense objects. We try to enjoy those sense objects, and then senses are guided by the mind, and mind is guided by intelligence. So when your mind is not under the control of intelligence, then things may go haywire. So that's very important point. That's very important, and you have to make a note of it. Intelligence is the most superior thing. So from intelligence comes everything. But sometimes mind gets so confused, mind gets so bogged down. Then mind tries to control the intelligence, and once the mind tries to control the intelligence, everything is lost. Right? So, there are two ways of doing things. One is, we may just keep doing things with our way of doing things. Like, okay, let me, I know that, okay, I want to do something, whether I am perfect or imperfect doesn't matter. But I want to just keep trying. So generally, people what people generally do? People try to do something out of their whims and fancies, out of their senses, and trial and error. But at least they know that to some extent that I'm not in complete control of the result, but let me still do it. Let's still do it because I want to do it. So they keep trying, doing things. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, and sometimes they get success, sometimes they get their failure. But then there are other categories of people who refer to scriptures, who refer to Bhagavad Gita, who refers to Bhagavatam, or who refers to signs of God. Like Krishna says, what does Krishna says? Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, what is that? Bhoktaram yajnatapasam sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suradam Sarvabhutanam Gyatva Mam Santim Rachati. What does that mean? I am the Bhoktaram Yogya Tapasam. So for all the sacrifices, penances, austerity, we have to know Krishna, it's for whom? We are doing this for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Krishna is seated in everyone's heart. Krishna is seated in everyone's heart, and he is equipoised. He doesn't favor only the human beings, he also favors the animals. So for him, he sees things with equipoised vision. He looks at things, and one who understands this, what he attains is peace. Because when we do some activities, the whole idea of doing that activity is to attain some peace. But since we are not doing it the way things has to be done, or the way things have been recommended in the scriptures, So we don't get peace. And we think, here Prabhupada says, we think that we are the doer. So since we feel, oh, I put so much of my energy into this, I put so much, like a student, say for an example, throughout his life he keeps studying. Let's say for an example, now he's in the 12th grade and he has to go and give the exam. So the whole year the student practices, right? Especially from January onwards, because in the March the exams come. So they do a lot of practice. They keep studying mathematics, they try to solve the problem. But what happens? Because, and when they go and give exams, can you guarantee that the student will get absolutely good marks? It's not possible. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Because he has done his part, right? He has put what he has put. He has put the required endeavor to ensure that he gets good marks. Okay, so the endeavor is then that is the right place. He goes to the examination hall. He gets the question paper. He starts solving those problems. So he put required endeavors. So the doer has done his part. The place is there. The required endeavor has gone. But then sometimes the senses doesn't work. His mind doesn't work. His intelligence doesn't work. Or the Supreme Personality of Godhead doesn't give the required sanction. So sometimes even after putting all those efforts, we have seen that they don't get good marks. And sometimes some students, they don't prepare much. Whatever little intelligence they have, whatever they can grasp. And sometimes they get better marks than those students who really work hard. So not necessarily, that the doer has the full control. So we talk about these 5 different elements. We talk about the endeavor, the place, and the 5 different kinds of actions we already mentioned here, right? So one of the important thing here in this verse is Prabhupada is saying is akrata buddhitvad. What does that mean? Due to unintelligence. What do you mean by unintelligence? Unintelligent doesn't mean that person doesn't have any intelligence. No, it's not like that. Unintelligence is covered. His intelligence is, as of now, his intelligence is covered. His intelligence is covered with what? His intelligence is covered with the 3 modes of material nature. Right? So right now he doesn't know what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is bad. So he tries to do that. Okay. Akrata buddhi, due to unintelligence. So therefore, one who thinks himself the only doer, not considering the 5 factors, he is certainly not very intelligent and cannot see things as they are. So he is certainly not very intelligent, but he can come out of that. That unintelligence or not very clear intelligence, what we talk about, but he can come out of that. How can he come out of that? When he leaves all his desires. Getting it? Leaving all the desires means not to be desireless, but to dovetail your desire with that of Krishna. So once we come to know that, okay, what is the point of doing the same thing again and again for our own sense gratification, but not for pleasing the sense of Krishna. So once we leave all the desires. So leaving all the desires, when we talk about this perfection of renunciation, is not about leaving all the desires and to be like a stone. Yes, you have to continue with whatever desires you have, but just dovetail that desire and align your desire with that of Krishna. So when we do a lot of activities, one thing one has to understand is there are a lot of witnesses. So let's say we are in a dark room and we are doing something wrong. So who is witnessing that? A super soul. And plus there are a lot of other witnesses as well. When we do some activities and we feel that no one is witnessing, but there are a lot of witnesses around. What are they? One is sun, one is moon, air, and then the directions, the land, the demigods, day, night. So these are all the different kind of witnesses we have. And then very important witness is the super soul. We may try to fool everyone, but we cannot fool the super soul, because super soul is witnessing everything. And that is why we get this we get this cycle of birth and that, because we keep on doing things which are non-desirable, what is not as per the Shastra. We do some karmic activities and we do some sinful activities, and we see no one is seeing them. But from millions of birth after birth, so many cycles. Just think about the Paramatma. What all things he has to do? Can you just imagine that something you might have done wrong 200 years back, 300 years back, in one of our previous life, in one of the maybe animal life or human life, we don't know what. You might have done something wrong, and that reaction might come now, because Paramatma knows when is the time when that reaction is going to fructify and when that person has to face that reaction. So it's life after life. Some people, you may just say the bad things happens to good people, or good thing happens to bad people. Have you seen those videos? Good thing happens to bad people and bad thing happens to good people. So we feel, oh, this person is doing so many sinful activities, but he's getting so many nice things in life. He's so rich, he has aristocrat family, he has so many servants, he has a nice mansion, nice villa, he's so famous in the world. It's not because of his karma which he is doing in this life, because of the karma he has done in the past. He might have done something really good in the past, because Prabhupada says when a devotee, he tries to, is on the path of liberation or on the path of devotional life, on bhakti, but for some reason he's not able to complete his bhakti and he suddenly leaves the body. But all those activities which he has done for Krishna or for Krishna's devotees, for his guru, all those things get accumulated, because any spiritual activity you do doesn't end with that body, it gets accumulated. So because of his past deeds, what happens? Srila Prabhupada says that he may take birth in a very rich family or in a Brahmana family, and he starts his devotion from there. But when you take birth in a very aristocratic family, there are chances that you may forget Krishna, completely forget Krishna. But whatever good activities he has done, he has to get some reaction for it. So he takes birth in a rich family, he gets a lot of money, good wife, good children, beautiful, healthy, wealthy, whatnot. So, but these are all because of his past deeds. And some people, right from birth, they are struggling because of that. Again, it's because of the past deed. So, how do you purify our intelligence? So, that's a big question. How do we purify our intelligence? So, before we come to this topic, we talked about Atma and Paramatma. We talk about these two things, right? So when we change the body, do we change body? We change body, because Atma carries us to the next body, and then we also have Paramatma. So what is the analogy Prabhupada has given in the book about Atma and Paramatma? They are two birds on the same tree. So there is a tree, imagine there is a tree and there are two birds. What is one bird doing? One bird is busy eating the fruits of the tree, right? And what is the other bird? Other bird is just witnessing. One is observing and sanctioning. It's like the other bird is observing, oh, it's activity, so this bird. So we consider this body like that, we keep doing so many activities. The Paramatma is making a note of everything. The Paramatma is basically putting everything in our karmic book. Oh, this activity, this reaction, this activity, this reaction. When is that reaction going to come? When is that reaction going to fructify? It's a very complex chain of cycle. No, it's very difficult, complex things. You will never come to know why one is suffering, why one is not suffering. Oh, there is an excellent devotee, all of a sudden that devotee gets paralytic and is on the wheelchair. So one will imagine, what is the point of doing so much bhakti and suddenly Krishna is giving me all those things. So but still the devotees, they keep doing their devotional service, because devotional service has nothing to do with the present body, because it's on a different plane altogether, right? So again, coming back to the topic, how do you purify our intelligence? How do we do that? So Prabhupada has given us different ways of doing that. What is the basic thing is sadhana bhakti, right? So once you do sadhana bhakti, slowly sadhana bhakti will culminate in what? Pure devotional service, right? So sadhana bhakti is again the same thing, whatever Prabhupada has mentioned, morning programs, reading books, listening to Prabhupada's lectures, following the orders of Guru Parampara, following the orders of Acharya, appearing, observing the appearance and disappearance days of the Goswamis, Acharyas, so many things are there, and bowing down before Tulsi Maharani, and respecting all the devotees, even non-devotees for that matter, preaching. So many things are there. When we do our sadhana bhakti, when we try to purify our intelligence, right now the problem is our intelligence is not purified. Because intelligence most of the time is controlled by mind. So intelligence is not purified. So until and unless our intelligence is not purified, mind will not be stable. Because Arjun also said, right? Mind is very unstable. He says that I'll be able to control the wind, but I'm not able to control the mind. So purification of intelligence can be done one of the ways by doing sadhana bhakti. So while performing sadhana bhakti, one fine day we'll slowly elevate ourselves and we'll go to the next level. Okay. So here it's mentioned akrat buddhiva, due to intelligence. And what does Prabhupada says in the end? Therefore, one should see not only the four material causes but the supreme efficient cause as well. So why it is said that supreme efficient cause? Prabhupada has mentioned supreme cause as well. Why is it efficient? Why we say efficient? Because whatever Krishna does is good for us. We may feel, oh, I'm struggling, and Krishna is giving us so much trouble, like you see the life of Pandavas. Right? Pandavas are very close to Krishna, but they were under calamities. Kunti Devi prayed to Krishna. What does Kunti Devi pray to Krishna? Give me more calamities. Why? So that I can always think of you. So Krishna is the supreme efficient cause as well. So efficient can be also termed as effective. So not necessary, because Krishna is autocrat, absolute autocrat. So what does absolute autocrat means? He can do whatever comes to his mind. You cannot question him. We can be questioned by our superiors, our mother, father, our teacher, our so-called authorities. But Krishna has got no authority. Krishna can do whatever comes to his mind, and you cannot question him. Why did Krishna do with that? But Krishna generally do because Krishna knows what is good for us. So you may keep trying and doing something again and again, and you always fail. And you always think, why I fail? Because maybe Krishna's sanction is not there. Krishna feels this is not the right time to give you success. Krishna says, okay, put more efforts, and then maybe I'll give you success. Or maybe that is his way of teaching the devotees what is right, what is wrong. So Krishna says the supreme efficient cause as well. He is the supreme and is cause of supreme and efficient and effective cause as well. One who does not see the supreme thinks himself to be the doer. So generally, it's also mentioned in the Shastras that someone comes to the temple and he doesn't acknowledge the presence of the Lord. That is also a offense. So when you come to the temple, some people come to the temple, just they come, they take selfie, they click some photos and they go. Even they don't pay their respect or obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead or to Srila Prabhupada. That is also a offense. So someone comes to this room, let's say for example we are giving a lecture, or maybe you are in some party or somewhere, or maybe you are giving a lecture and some senior person comes. So if you just ignore him, that is also not good. Okay, so you have to at least acknowledge. So there are a lot of things. That's what I am saying. It's very complicated. These things are. So in this sloka, what we need to understand is there are the other four factors. We have to talk about the place, the doer, the senses, the endeavor. All those things are okay, because each and every actor has a role to play. Place also has a role to play. That's why it's said that in Nectar of Devotion, one of the important elements of 64 elements, and one of the 5 important elements, in that one of the element is doing Mathuravas, staying in Vrindavan. So, I can do bhakti staying in some foreign country also. Why only Vrindavan, or why only Mayapur, or why Jagannath Puri? Because that place is very important, because Krishna has done a lot of pastimes here. So the land itself is pious. So when we come to this land and we perform our bhajan, we can grow fast. Our bhakti the creeper can grow fast, and it can touch the spiritual world. It can penetrate and it can enter the spiritual world. So it's very important that the place is also important, and the senses we compare with our body, and the most important thing is the supreme cause, right? So we have seen that, right? Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachitananda Vigra Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karana. He is the cause of all the causes. So he doesn't have any cause. Try to understand. He doesn't have any cause, but he is the cause of all the causes. Because when he wants to create this material world, he doesn't have to take much pain. What he does, he just plays the flute, and from that what emanates is the Gayatri. And then the whole process of Vishnu, and then Brahma coming out of the lotus stem, Brahma meditating on it, and Krishna giving him the direction, and Brahma is the engineer, and then the Prajapatis comes out, and all these living entities are created, and then Krishna puts the seed, then Krishna puts the Paramatma in everyone's heart, so then there is a witness, and based on their action and reaction they get karmic cycle, then again they take birth based on what action and reaction, and see, it's a very complicated cycle. So Krishna doesn't have to do anything, and when Krishna, and it just, he exhales and inhales, and the spirit, the world are created and destroyed, right? And Krishna doesn't do any of those things. He's just relaxing. He's playing the flute. And Brahma is again an engineer. He's doing all those activities. Krishna doesn't do anything. Krishna is youthful, playful. He's just enjoying. He comes to this world just to do his Ras Leela. Do his Leelas, different kind of Leelas. And once his Leelas is over, he goes back. That's it. He doesn't do. And then he put one of the important elements is the time, and this whole material nature just move. There is a day. The sun rises, sun sets. And different living entities do the different karma, and accordingly they get a different kind of body. They take birth again, sometimes in the lower species, sometimes in the upper planetary system, and this cycle keeps repeating again and again and again until and unless we don't turn our face to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead that you are everything, and I want to completely surrender myself and render devotional service unto you, and in the end what we want to go back to Krishna Lok, Golok Vrindavan. Okay? So, because in the Golok Vrindavan is the ultimate destination, because once we go there, we don't come back. Okay? So, this is what Prabhupada has mentioned in this sloka. So, anyone has any comment, any suggestion, any question, feel free to ask. Okay. Yes, Prabhuji?
So, referring to the scripture, so say Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam can be very lengthy for a amateur.
Right.
So in that case, what I know is Vedanta Sutra very concise guidelines like we have for a computer or a calculator.
Vedanta Sutra is also very elaborate. It is also very elaborate. Actually, the best thing for the beginner is, at least we practice this in ISKCON, I don't know about others, is we just start giving small books. Because Prabhupada's small books are also, it's like heavy. Any Prabhupada, you read any Srila Prabhupada small books, like, you read all the small books, is like most of the things are covered, what is covered in Bhagavatam, Prabhupada tried to cover in small books also. Like, and the sword of knowledge, or the science of self-realization, journey to other planets. So Prabhupada mentions everything in that small book. So basically, until unless we don't have that Shraddha, so immediately picking up Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, I don't know how effective that will be. But yes, of course, if you have that preliminary knowledge, yes, definitely you can jump to those books. But general practice is we ask newcomers to read small books, try to understand, what is body, what is soul, what are the 5 different senses, how the senses work, how are we born to these different kind of activities, why we take birth, who is Guru, who is Krishna, who is different tattvas, who is Guru tattva, so many things are there. So once we understand the basic, then that Shraddha is developed, and then we associate with devotees, sadhu sangha, and then anartha nivritti happens, slowly, and then bhajan kriya. So many things are there, it's a step by step, and then ultimately we get some nishtha and then bhav. So it is a gradual process, but yes, directly jumping to Bhagavatam is also okay, but better is to read small books and then start referring to Gita or Bhagavatam. Anyone else?
In that case, I think the nectar of devotion.
Nectar of devotion is also.
It's a complete science of completion.
Yeah, nectar of devotion is good. Nectar of devotion, it's good. But I have seen people recommending science of self-realization, the sword of knowledge, Perfect question, perfect answers. These are small books. And then just Nectar of Devotion, Nectar of Instruction, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. It's like graduate, postgraduate, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and then Chaitanya Charitamrita. So slow and steady, try to understand and try. So the most important thing is just not reading, trying to implement those things in our life. Slow but steady every day, maybe 0.5% or maybe 0.5% in a month is also a good goal. So if you try to change your life or try to follow the path and slowly but steadily go towards that direction, that is also good.
Just a little add-on. If say someone is little adamantly asking, give me concise, like in a train travel, we have penalty, or calculator has rules, or mobile has rules. So say someone is adamant and says, tell me concisely, what do the scriptures want? Let it be fair and square, put forward very clearly. I hope I was able to say that.
So you want concise what the scripture says?
Yeah.
So the scripture, see, concisely with the scriptures, Krishna, it's all about why are we here. See, Prabhupada says that what is real intelligence? Real intelligence is inquiring. Why I came here? What is the purpose of this human life? Otherwise, you would have taken birth in an animal. What is the difference between an animal and a human life? So Prabhupada says the inquiry starts from there. Brahma Jigyasa starts from there. Why I am here? What is the purpose of this human life? And how human life is different from animal. So it all starts from there. And then when you think about human life, how is human life different from animal? Animal works on instinct. Human life works on intelligence. So intelligence doesn't mean how to make money, how to make big houses, how to have academic qualification and make a lot of money, enjoy merry-go life, enjoy life. That is not human life is meant for, because human life is very rare. After so many species of life, we get a human life, and in this human life, if it doesn't apply the intelligence and don't align our activities or don't engage our senses in pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then this life is spoiled. Krishna and Prabhupada says that this is suicide. You do a spiritual suicide. It's a suicide. You had a chance to go back to Godhead, or you had a chance to elevate yourself to the next life, maybe to higher planetary system, or maybe to a better life where you can have your consciousness will grow. So in a nutshell, you have to say that the scriptures, the whole idea of the scriptures or writing these different scriptures is about mentioning who is God, what is the purpose of God, or what is the purpose of our life, and how do we align ourselves with the God, and coming out of these clutches of Maya, temporary, birth, death. Real problem is birth, death, old age, disease, and the real solution is how do we come out of this. And Prabhupada says this is possible only in the human life. A dog cannot do that, because a dog automatically in the evolution it will go to the next stage. Whether it does something pious or impious or whatever it is, it will go to the next stage. Human life is a decision making phase where we have to decide what activities we want to do, which will please and which will take us forward, and we can go back to Godhead. So this is in a nutshell. So this human life is meant for that, to realize our original position, who we are, what is the purpose of this life, and just execute those activities and go back to Godhead. Simple. Rest of the things, just for this body, we have to maintain our body, so we have to do certain activities. But again, as it mentions here, don't think that you are the supreme cause. All the problems come when you think that I am the cause, I am the doer, because of me working, I get success, and because of me, since I didn't study properly, I failed. So many things are there, but until and unless that I said that Jiva and then Jeev, and then we have this Jagat, and ultimately the Jagat, Jagdish. So until these three things are not aligned, so you don't have the proper sanctioning authority, and all those puzzle is not in place, then you will not be able to achieve what you want. So ultimately Prabhupada says that the important cause is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's important. Any other question? Okay, we'll stop here. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Bhagavad Gita ki Srila Prabhupada.
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Hare